Today, we're diving deep into a story that's equal parts spooky, mysterious, and utterly captivating. Have you ever heard of a painting so cursed that entire houses burned to the ground? Yet the painting itself always survived, completely untouched by the flames. They called it the Crying Boy. For decades, this sad, tear-streaked child has been blamed for a string of mysterious fires, each one more tragic than the last. But what if I told you that the truth behind this eerie painting is even darker and more fascinating than the myth? Get ready to have your spine tingled, because we're about to uncover the legend of the Crying Boy. So, where did this all begin? Well, our story takes us back to the 1950s. Across Britain, in countless homes, a painting of a weeping young boy hung proudly in thousands of living rooms. It was a mass-produced print, really. Cheap, incredibly popular, and surprisingly captivating. There was just something about it. The boy's eyes seemed to follow you, no matter where you stood in the room. The artist behind these haunting images was Giovanni Bragolin, also known as Bruno Amadio. He was an Italian painter who claimed his works were inspired by the poignant faces of war orphans he encountered after World War II. A noble cause, right? Capturing the sorrow of a lost generation. But soon, whispers began to spread. Whispers that would turn into full-blown panic. Families who owned the Crying Boy started to experience unimaginable tragedy. Most often, it was a devastating house fire. And here's the kicker. Every single time, when firefighters sifted through the smoldering ashes, there it was, the painting, perfectly intact. Not even a singe mark on the canvas. It was uncanny. How could something survive such intense heat when everything else was reduced to rubble? People started to talk. They started to wonder, was this just a coincidence, or was something far more sinister at play? The legend was slowly, terrifyingly taking shape. Then, in September 1985, a British tabloid newspaper, The Sun, unleashed a headline that truly froze the nation. Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy. The article detailed the harrowing story of a couple whose home had been completely destroyed by fire. They claimed the blaze erupted mere moments after they hung the painting on their wall. When firefighters arrived, they were stunned. The house was gone. Yet the painting, it was right there, resting face down, almost mockingly intact amidst the destruction. It was almost as if it had orchestrated the whole thing. And that was just the beginning. After that article, reports came flooding in. Firefighters from all over England started sharing similar, chilling accounts. They'd seen it again and again. Homes utterly destroyed. But the Crying Boy always survived. One seasoned firefighter reportedly said, "I've seen enough burned homes to know this. I don't want that painting anywhere near mine." Can you imagine the fear that must have spread? Out of sheer terror, thousands of families across the UK took their Crying Boy paintings down. Some even bravely burned them publicly, hoping to break the curse. Others, too scared to even touch the thing, begged priests to bless their homes, seeking spiritual protection from the mysterious fiery force they believed was attached to this artwork. It was a national phenomenon of fear. But who was this boy? Why was he crying? And why did the fires always seem to spare his image, almost protecting it? According to the most popular and chilling legend, the boy in the painting was an orphan named Don Bonillo. His parents had tragically died in a house fire, and wherever he went afterward, it seemed fire just followed. The story goes that a priest, utterly terrified of the child and the strange occurrences around him, supposedly forbade anyone from adopting him, calling him cursed by fire. Years later, in a twist of fate, the boy himself died in a car crash. His body was reportedly burned beyond recognition, The artist, haunted by the boy's story, and perhaps the guilt of exploiting his image, painted the boy over and over again. Was he trying to capture his profound sorrow, or maybe to trap his spirit inside the canvas forever? Some deeply believe that every single reproduction of the crying boy carries a piece of that curse, a fragment of a tortured soul, forever frozen in tears, waiting to unleash its fiery grief. It's a truly unsettling thought, isn't it? The idea that art could hold such dark energy. Now, of course, where there's a dramatic legend, there are always skeptics with rational explanations. And fire investigators definitely had their theories. They later discovered that many of the prints were made on a specific type of material, often flame-resistant, mounted on dense fiberboard, and then coated with a varnish that offered significant protection from heat. That's why they survived, they argued. Not because of a curse, but because of science and good manufacturing practices. But even with this logical explanation, it couldn't quite explain away all the eerie coincidences, could it? Why were so many fires linked to one specific type of painting? And why did so many witnesses claim they'd felt something sinister, a strange presence, just before disaster struck? Some even went further, saying the boy's expression on the canvas seemed to change from sadness to anger just moments before tragedy hit. Whether it was all a grand coincidence, a mass hallucination, or a genuine curse, one thing is certain: fear spread faster than any fire itself. The psychological impact of the story was immense. By the late 1980s, most of the crying boy paintings had been destroyed. People wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. They were too scared to keep them, too scared to sell them. But a few still remain, hidden away in old attics, gathering dust in forgotten thrift shops, or perhaps even lingering in abandoned homes, waiting to be rediscovered. Collectors who are brave enough to seek them out and hang them again often report feeling watched, an unsettling sensation. It's as if the boy's sorrow is waiting for someone to notice him, to acknowledge his pain. Some even claim the painting weeps at night, reporting tiny streaks of moisture appearing where none should be, despite no logical explanation. No one knows for sure what the artist truly intended when he created these images. But one thing remains certain: the crying boy continues to haunt, not just through the terrifying tales of fire, but through the enduring power of memory and legend. Perhaps the boy was never truly cursed. Perhaps he was only mourning, not for himself, but for us, for humanity's struggles and sorrows. Because when we look into those painted eyes, maybe we're not seeing a curse at all. We're seeing grief, the kind that, much like this painting, never truly burns away. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling dive into the legend of the crying boy. What do you think? Is it a curse or just a series of bizarre coincidences? Let me know in the comments below.